Okay, so I wanted to make a quick video. I'm missing a page where I left it open at. I should have done it on the same day, maybe Sunday, and would have done it, but I didn't do it on Sunday. So here's the big thing. It was either page 1185 of this book, or yeah, page, it was Mark 5, so it'd be like page 115 or 116, in between there. Alright, so this is where, and this is, it has to do with Syria, it has to do with the letters, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not like, you know, what do you call it? What kind of ideas people get like about supposedly Christmas or Christmas. It shows a lot of what actually is, you know, pretty terrible. Sometimes people do. Alright, so anyways, I'm going to go to Acts 20 because I remembered it when I started actually in Jesus's words, or if you want to call it that. But it was like, it was a reference, I think it was, to that. So it's going to go down to 20, and I just have to show it real quick. They referenced the, and this has to do with the mirrors that I talked about, right there, and everything. And I really, I'll express it later. I'm just going to read 26. It's on page 1209. It is, and we sailed away from Philippi, or Philippi, whatever his name is, or whatever that place is, after the days of unleavened bread, and came unto them too, and it has a little R there, but it doesn't say that it's also given another name or a mirror. In 5 days where we abode, to Troas in 5 days, where we abode 7 days. This is where he preached. Okay, and upon the first day of the week, when the disciples came together to break bread, Paul preached unto them, ready to depart on the morrow, and continued his speech until midnight. Now, the part where it used 16:18, right? See, if it's like this, it'll say like, you know, 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, but instead it just says 16:8 as a reference. So it's within the same chapter. So 16:18 is over here, where it talks about they were passing by Mysia or Mysia, and came down to Troas, and it gave 20:05 is the same place right there. Okay, now if you read what Paul did here, okay, so upon the first day we came and we broke bread, blah blah blah, right? And there were many lights in the upper chamber where they were gathered together. And then on the overside, this is exactly where they had just gotten word from Antioch, Syria, and Cilicia. They supposedly got through this Diana thing, which is on the page over, on page 1208. I'm reading now the Acts 26. I'm reading from the 1209 area over to this one, which is 1208. Okay, pages make it a little bit easier for me to just say it. So if we go over here, they called this Troas near Samothracia. Okay, now where it said that they went to these lights, and then afterwards on the page over, there was a certain woman named Lydia, a seller of purple of the city of that city, or Thyatira or whatever it was. Go down now to 16:16, and you have, and it came to pass as we went to prayer, a certain damsel possessed with the spirit of divination met us, which brought her masters much gain by soothsaying or fortune telling. Okay, so then Leviticus 19:31 is referenced there, and then I will go back to this lights thing, supposedly. So supposedly they referenced Leviticus 19:31. So I'm going to keep that page, and I'm going to go over to Leviticus. Leviticus 19:31. So we are in 23 over to 19. 19 now to 19:31. Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after them that have to be wizards. Okay, and then it goes into this Molech thing. Okay, if you read the whole thing, where, see, this is why eye altars suck, because people do stuff, mirrors and stuff like that, and it sets people in certain areas with this kind of stuff. And to be sure that it is, I'll just go through Leviticus. Okay, if you read Leviticus and then you read 20, go down to where it does the Molech thing, the sanctuary, profane the holy, and all the way down to the soul that turneth after such familiar spirits and everything like that. And they do these mirror things, so people are really, really confused. Down to where they lie around or something like that with different people, but they're like totally, you know, doing this under government and stuff like that. So it uses Leviticus there. It came to pass, as we went over to prayer, a certain damsel possessed with the spirit of divination, which brought her masters much gain by soothsaying. And that was through the Lilith thing, you know, where they think, honestly, that they can read your freaking mind. Honest to God. Like, if you go to, like, any type of thing where it might ever happen one day, when you go in there, and I was really impressed once. There was somebody who could literally read what I was thinking, but immediately I knew that that person could, so I just thought the opposite. And she was absolutely fucking shocked, because some of these soothsaying things and where they get it from, it's kind of like, in a way where, it's maybe not even their fault, but it's the surroundings and stuff like that. But it's, you can tell what it is. It goes straight into 26 as well. So it goes 19, 30, or 31 of Leviticus, and it goes to 20 of the 6. Let's see, that's the soul that turns us after familiar spirits. And this is why a lot of people don't understand why some people never have kids, or why some people are always, you know, pushed this way or pushed that way. And the reality is, I really don't think that they couldn't. It was just, it had something to do with this, where they cut off people in a certain kind of way, whether it's their own family, whether it's the envy of it, but you know, a lot of times it's like the organizations, the hospitals. They want government so bad. Somebody walks in with a miscarriage, they assume that they're Egyptian. You know, or something like that. Or they say, like, the father, that was the father's kids. And they play this kid goat game with the prodigal son story against Jesus. See, this is why it's so important. Like, that whole Syrian stuff, it is not about the location. A lot of people actually go location. See, because fake, whatever you call it, Israel or whatever will make people believe they're somewhere they're not. Like literally believe they're somewhere or not. They'll do eye altars to even make you believe that they killed somebody that they didn't. Or something like that. Just see the feeling. But in reality, they're just shifting people along and pushing them out of the way or something like that. And then a lot of times they'll taunt them in jobs, or they'll just try to hook them up and say right out a way that you'll end up really, really big, and they'll set them up where they're just going to go down this path and be like, and then they could be all angry or whatever at the end when it doesn't go their way. But that's a different type of thing they do. A lot of times it's usually they can make people feel like they are somewhere that they're not. And the other one is really, really job mess up, like mess up the definition of that one big time, in a sense. And then it'll go to like extreme contracts or something like that. It's not really based on freedom, and that's why I'm going into this part where I'm mad, because the one part where it was put in with the words of Jesus and who touched me area, because it moved it. You remember when Jesus was walking or whatever, and in the crowd and tried to crush them? You have to understand what kind of craft that is. It's not Jesus in this particular situation. He's going through a normal thing. But because he was given a path to walk a certain kind of way, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, it fits with every type of thing that kind of people do, in a sense, and that's really, really mean or horrible. You can like even look at like the North Korean thing like that sometimes, where they say that it's like they're crushing people, or they're, they use like a lot of times, and a lot of these people live in this reality where it like makes me want to cut my forehead or something like that, but that doesn't even work. None of that stuff works, because it's like mixing, where they talk about mixing, I don't know if you want to call it iron with clay, but they're setting it up so, and then they'll be, given this idea that they're going to have prosperous lives, they're going to get what they need and all that kind of stuff. Or anyways, I'm just going to go back over to where Acts then does something really crazy. Okay, so it brought you back all the way to Leviticus there. And a lot of times this is why, I don't know. We're going to go to Leviticus. Or not Leviticus, we're going to go to Acts. And so this is where I saw it again. So Acts 20 again. We're going to go down to Acts 20. Now Acts 20, so he goes and there are many lights in the upper chamber where they are gathered together. This is that flash shit that bothers me, like this is where people like, they think they're seeing somebody, sometimes they're not even seeing that person, they're not really seeing that person, but I don't even know how to explain it, I know who I talk to, like I try to memorize everybody's face, everybody try to remember as much as I can, and sometimes it's a lot. But this is why, you get these type of things, and you get like people overcrowding and things like this. It makes it easier and harder for people to come out of certain things. So anyways, the chamber where they were all gathered together, and then there they sat in the window. Certain young man named Eutychus, whatever, being fallen into a deep sleep, as Paul was long preaching, he sunk down with sleep and fell down from the third loft and was taken up dead. And Paul went down and fell on him, embracing him, said, "Trouble not yourself, for his life is within him." So remember that it brought me all the way to 16:8. And it came to pass, as it went over to prayer, a certain damsel possessed with the spirit of divination met us, which brought her masters much gain by soothsaying. And then it went all the way to Leviticus, where they did the Moloch thing. Well, after this light thing, they meet up in this certain chamber, whatever comes down. Paul says he gets near the boy. He says, "Trouble not yourselves, for his life is within him." So there's a mirror here that's going on. And then 1 Kings, and this is why I'm not angry or mad. I'm just telling you that the people can recognize it easily, because it'll go. Alright, I'll just read 1 Kings real quick. 1 Kings. And I'm so upset that Mark's not in there right now, because what I saw in there was crazy. And then it went into, so, let's see. Oh, God. 1 Kings. Where's 1 Kings at? Hold on. 1 Kings, and this is why I said they do like tear jumping, stuff. So he gets back from this like Deanna thing that's selling people for silver and stuff like that, and has no problem. It's profit, and there's all that kind of stuff. But the thing is when he gets over here, they put something with Leviticus that also is being put with, they referenced it, a woman or a girl who brings soothsaying. And then 1 Kings, after they go up in this chamber of lights, where is it? 1 Kings 17:21. 17:21. And he stretched himself upon the child 3 times and cried unto the Lord and said, "O Lord my God, I pray thee, let this child's soul come into him again." That whole soul thing was actually in the page that's missing. I can't find it. And that's why I don't like the thing where they like go after, like the mind. They say whatever's in your heart. They can read what's inside your head and stuff like that. Let me just say this. So supposedly, and I don't know if this is true, but that whole thing, like when I went to go, like I was at Circus and everything, and the hospitals and the things like that, and I'm talking about just like when like for example, if I had a miscarriage or somebody had done something to me, after that I go to like thing, and this soothsayer lady, she can practically, she gets everybody's right. Like, I don't know, she was like, could read your mind thing. So what it is, it's like it's a birther thing, because if you, how do I explain this? So somebody thinks that they can see what's in your head, your soul, and just based on this idea of using certain types of principles, that makes people almost predictable, and it's abusive. And how do I explain this? Okay, so like, for example, the whole alien thing. You taunt people, you abuse people, whatever. Somebody who, thinks whatever, ends up in this category where they believe in a lot of aliens and stuff like that, and they might think that their life is normal and going steady. They go down this like certain road. Then the ladder of everyone by that, where they are in life, may suffer on some ends at the hands of what they decided was okay. Then it can get all the way back to the birther things. So, for example, I bled. I bled when I was born. Like, I bled. And that whole menopause thing was a joke. Like, I don't even know how they're doing this. Really, I don't. But I know that it's recognizable when they are doing something like that. Because I don't know. I mean, I wish I had that page still in the middle there. It was like Mark 5, and it had something referenced to it. Also, it's referenced in here, Acts 35, Acts 40. There is no freaking Acts 30 and 40 in here, number one. And I'm not even like, honestly, I've not even been in the Paul area forever. Like they would just say like, oh, it's all in your head and stuff like that. So never mind. So Acts 40, let me see, I don't even remember where, I don't have that page anymore in this book to reference for you. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. And this stuff, just because people can do it, I know they're going to get them for it. Even like, I bet real Jews will even get them for it. Because this is just, after a while of that progressing, like, I'm pretty much sure. Never mind. I'm just like, I don't even want to, like, get personal about it. So if I can find it real quick and maybe I could show you. And that's what they want. They want that personal stuff so that it'd be easier. And then, because after once you hit that whole box thing, it always falls back and they always call people animals or something like that. And then it goes electronics and building and everything. And they won't let you be the ones to help produce it. Trust me. You can be like somebody who can get stalked around and all that kind of stuff. But you sometimes don't get to help out. You get to, the people that make the gigapet thing or whatever, you know, stuff like that. The trolls and stuff. You know, those were all symbolic of the things that they were doing that you will buy and think you're happy, then later on you're the easy one to get abused because the claim or something. And it's just like, then afterwards they fall on their face and say it's all in your head. It's unreadable. It's just freaking unbelievable. And no, you don't have control over everything. So, I think it was, where are we at? Acts 13. 2-4, and I kept, if I can find one. And I can't believe what I found that day. I should have just said it all out. It was amazing if I could have had that page in here. So for example, right here, so we have Acts, Acts 24. And I will do it one day. One day I'm going to put this together so fast so you can see it. It'll lead you all the way to where I think it's the red part of time to repent, and then but then it flips over to, I don't remember exactly. It was in Revelation, but this one, I'll give you an example of it. It led me all the way to here. You have page 1215, Acts 24. I'm in the first paragraph. And if you can see that, it's 35 and I think 30. Well, there isn't any Acts 35 or 30. I can't find it. Let me just make sure that somebody didn't come by and tear anything out. Because I have done that when I realized it was Islam. But I can tell you right now that I had my finger on that thing the whole day. And I was thinking about how to put a video together of where they showed like this mirror. And these are the kinds of things that really, you know, like I said, they'll make you believe you're not in the same place. Like somebody, a mirrored name, a mirrored location. And then the other one, they'll just like freaking job thing. And this is the kinds of things that's not based off of actually, if I could explain it to you, they don't like it. They can recognize it. Okay? A lot of people, like for example, if it's trafficking or something like that, you know, I'll just make a joke. Somebody calls me up one day, invites me to church. Oh, it's my dad. Says, you want to go to this? And call back. He didn't do this intentionally, but he didn't. Called and said, did you want to go? He's like, oh, no. They got their kids. But then, like, you know, somebody who trafficked it will immediately run into church because they already know they trafficked it all the way up that it killed off so many of other people's kids. And that's why I don't know why I'm still intrigued with the Bible, because I know that trafficking and necromancy are the things that if people are angry, whether it's at Jewish, whether it's at white people, black people, whatever it is, I know for a fact that when it comes down to it, trafficking and necromancy, I hate it. I really don't like it. And you're not allowed to say you hate things, because then people always bring this mirrored vision over people, that it's racism, that it's hate or whatever, but those things are really the biggest one. And that's why they're so smart sometimes to be able to catch this. A lot of them will just run in because they have their kids to get what they need for their kids, but they don't realize that it so progressed almost over, you know, it went over. And there's a lot of things, you know, they'll do whatever they can on that side, on the church side, to forgive and let that go. But like I said, it still runs the other course. Remember, like I did a weird video about it, how it kind of bangs out to wherever they came from or whatever, so it goes back. But this is, you know, a good example I wanted to use, is just to show you that, you know, I don't, this is at the part where they do, after 5 days, Ananias, the high priest, descended with the elders and with the certain orator, I'm not even sure what that means, named Tertullius, who informed the governor against Paul. And then this is not in here at all. 30 and 35. And I was just going to check to make sure it ain't. I checked that day. 30 and 35. Yep, it goes to 28, and nothing's missing. Nothing's missing. And then it goes to the end right here. Right there. So it's 28. 28. Oh. Okay. Alright. And if you want to look, you can. But see, this is what I'm saying. Even if you preach and you get built up on that and stuff like that, even if you know these things, they can tell. And I don't know how it is. But the whole birther thing about the birthdays and stuff, that one, it means it's like coming back around, where it's just like, you know. Alright, so I'm gonna let you go.